Welcome to another video, everybody. I had so much fun with this last furniture flip video that I decided to bring you 20 more of my favorite and most dramatic furniture flips from the last few years. Without any further ado, let's look at some furniture. My name is Angie, and I'm the one behind Transcend Furniture Gallery, a business created from the love of vintage furniture and the desire to take broken, dated, and unloved things and turn them into modern treasures. Sometimes I paint, and sometimes I don't, but I always do what I can to save old pieces from the trash. Welcome to my workroom. Number 1. I wish I had a better picture of this piece. This is the only before picture that I took. But to be honest, the top was the absolute worst part of the whole piece. We've got lots of water damage, areas where the finish is gone, scrapes, scratches, all of it. I opted for a wood and paint combination for this piece. I love how it turned out. The top is stunning. You'd never know that all of that damage was ever there. I believe the color of this was Sacred Sage by Fusion Mineral Paint. I apologize, some of these are from a few years back, so I might not remember everything that I used if you guys ask. But if you're curious, ask anyway, and I'll see if I can remember what I used. This is such an adorable piece. I absolutely love saving these older pieces from the trash. Number 2, this mid-century dresser was one of 2 pieces that I bought. There was a long dresser as well. I was lucky enough to have some extra hardware that I had salvaged from an old piece, so I was able to replace the one here that was damaged. Underneath this paint was 2 other layers of paint, but I stripped it all off. It was so much work. A total nightmare trying to get all the paint out of these cracks and crevices, but look at the result here. It was worth every hour, every drop of sweat, and to be honest, every curse word that came out of my mouth. That walnut wood grain is smooth as butter. I love walnut. I could stare at it all day long, and now you're going to stare at it with me. It's great. Obviously, you guys know that I'm not against painting furniture, but sometimes, especially pieces like this, I like to stay true to the piece where I can. Number 3, we've got another walnut dresser here, mid-century style. This is probably from, late 60s. You can see there's a lot of finish issues on the top. There was a lace doily that somehow melted literally into the finish. I don't know how that happens, but it happened. And here we are. This is completely refinished on the top and the top 3 drawers, and I opted to paint the bottom white. I don't do white a whole lot, but when I do, especially when it's paired with walnut, it's just such a nice contrast. Just so darn pretty. Number 4. This is a sweet little walnut mid-century desk I picked up from Marketplace. It had a lot of missing finish on the top. The rest wasn't too bad, but I gave it a full refinish anyway, just so everything would be cohesive. This is one of those pieces that, looking back, I totally wish I would have kept for myself. I love how this turned out. So smooth, so warm and rich. I love walnut. I'll say it again. I'm totally jealous of the person that bought this. Number 5, and brace yourself for this one because it's quite the transformation. This piece looks like a hunk of junk. It's flat, brown, ugly, just nothing special about it at all until you start sanding it and discover beautiful wood grain, which I believe I stained it in classic gray and then special walnut on top. Gave these super cool pulls a fresh spray of gold paint, painted the rest black, but what's really cool about this piece is I added a new top to it. I cut some pine planks to size and stained them the same color as the drawers, and it now has this super cool modern rustic vibe. I love it. And speaking of crazy transformations, number 6 is kind of similar in a way, except that this piece was actually solid wood. Like the whole thing, even these really cool handles, which I was happy to be able to salvage and just freshen up a bit. Seriously though, look at this wood grain. Look at the handles, just look at it all. I painted the outside of this piece in my custom mixed dark navy. And there is another video where I show you how to make this color. It's so great. If you like midnight blue but find it just a little bit light, check out this custom mix. I'll put a link to the video right at the top of the page here and you can check that out. This is a cool piece I wanted to show you because even though most of it is walnut wood grain, the top is actually that hard laminate that you see a lot of in the 60s and 70s. And you can see here it's a mess, but you can refinish it. It's difficult, and I may do a video on it at some point, but you can totally refinish it. You just have to be really careful with sanding that you literally just skim the surface, and then you can actually stain it and seal it. And looking at this, it looks just like the rest of the wood grain, but the top actually is laminate. Hard to believe, but it's true. This is a gorgeous piece of furniture, and I'm glad that I was able to save it without having to put paint on it. Again, I'm not against painting some pieces, but I mean, look at this. Number 8. This is a pretty typical solid pine dresser. You see them quite a bit on Marketplace and Craigslist, Kijiji, whatever your app of choice is. While I love and appreciate that this is actually a solid wood piece, I don't love the look of it when it's all this sort of orangey brown wood. So what I did here is I sanded down the top 3 drawers as well as the actual top down to bare wood and gave it a white wax treatment, which made it pale and just so soft looking, and I redid the bun feet in the same way. I painted the rest of the piece in a custom mixed color. It's kind of a grayish blue with a hint of green. I don't know how else to describe it, but it gives this piece a very unique and cool look, and I'm happy with how this turned out. Number 9 is another little desk. I actually picked this one up quite cheap and initially didn't want to redo it. I was going to try to sell it again, but the more I looked at it, the more I kind of saw potential, so I decided to give it a nice sort of whitewashed wood effect, again with that same white wax. I just buy it at Michael's. It's an Art Minds brand, and it's literally just called Art Minds white wax, and just gives such a nice look to this pale wood and keeps it pale, whereas if I'd put a clear coat on this, it probably would have turned a bit yellow. I added some really pretty paper to the drawers, and overall I love the nice airy light vibe that this piece has. Number 10. This piece was actually given to me. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do anything with it. It was pretty rough. It's not solid wood, so what I ended up doing was sanding off as much of the rough paint as I could and giving it a fresh coat of paint in, again, my custom mixed dark navy. I kept the round poles at the top, but ended up putting new poles on the bottom, and I'm happy I was able to do something with this. I did not want to see it go to the trash. Number 11. Okay, so this piece is very old. I was quite torn as to what to do with it. Part of me wanted to just try to clean it as best I could, but there were so many issues with it that it became apparent that a full refinish was what was needed here. The top on it is actually not original, it was a replacement. There used to be marble on top and someone created a new top out of plywood a while back. I love this adorable little walnut pull. It's so perfect because it's walnut. If you ever forget what kind of wood this is, just look at the pull, it's great. Pieces like this are always challenging because I want to give them an update and refresh them, but also keep it looking old, if that makes sense. Number 12. These night tables pop up everywhere online, and you can usually get them for a pretty good price because they usually look like this when you grab them. You can see some bubbling on the top here. That's because it is not a solid wood top, but as you can see, the base is solid wood and part of the drawers, so I ended up giving this a two-tone look with some white wax on the wood part, new gold pulls, and custom dark navy paint. These are gorgeous. I'm thrilled with how these turned out. Lucky 13. or in this case, really, really unlucky. The state of these is my fault. They fell off a pile of furniture and the top broke off, the sides came off. I thought I was gonna have to trash them. I was so angry at myself, but you know me, trashing them was not an option. I love what I did here with the legs, where I left a little bit of the wood showing and painted the rest. The drawers and the drawer pulls are solid wood, so I left those as well. Just stained them a nice light color, and the rest was painted in this very pretty custom sort of medium gray. Crisis completely averted, and I will never again pile furniture like I did here. 14. I picked up this little mid-century style laminate dresser because I really liked the pulls and the grooves to either side of the pulls. I kind of had a vision for this. These aren't the fanciest dressers, but if they have solid wood frames and components like solid wood legs or handles, you can save these pieces. It's a shame how many pieces like this end up in the garbage on the side of the road because people just don't think you can do anything with them, but here is a perfect example of turning it completely around and giving it a new life. Number 15. If this looks vaguely familiar, it's because I featured a matching dresser to this at the very end of the 20 furniture flips in 20 minutes video. This is the tall boy that accompanies it, and wow, what a stunner. Let me tell you, these are beautiful pieces of furniture. But definitely needed a little bit of love. You can't really see the top in this before picture, unfortunately, but it was pretty rough. These inlaid panels are so pretty, and the burl and the figure in the wood, there's no way I could paint this all, I never would. But I did add a little bit of paint just to sort of offset it a bit and give it a bit of an updated look while still keeping the majority of this absolutely gorgeous wood. Number 16. This is actually a hutch top from a mid-century buffet that I refinished separately. I wanted to do something with this. I didn't want to just toss it like so many people do. So I removed the skirting from the bottom of it, removed the glass panel completely, gave it a refresh inside and a full refinish on the outside, and added some tapered legs to it, and now it is a freestanding mid-century style bookshelf. I love this. I wish I had space for it in my home. Number 17. This is a sweet little antique solid wood dresser. It's got a lot of finish issues, as you can see here, and I wanted to give it a little bit of an updated look, but I wanted to keep it all wood. I definitely didn't want to paint it. So what I ended up doing, I sanded it all down and gave it a coat of Minwax Classic Gray stain, wiped it off almost immediately so that it didn't sink in that much, and it has this beautiful sort of rustic vibe, and paired with the new matte black hardware, it's updated. The color scheme here would suit so many different decor styles. You could put it in farmhouse, coastal decor. It's kind of a chameleon. Number 18. For those of you familiar with my channel, you've seen this piece before. I did a whole video on this one transformation. Definitely want to check that out. This piece was on the side of the road. It was free and I just couldn't leave it behind. I don't know what it is about me that can look at a piece and just see it, but this is one that I could just see. And I'm so happy with how this turned out. He's so cute. A lot of people say he's got a little mustache. Totally true. This is a custom mixed color. It's made from a few different fusion mineral paint colors. And I just love how it looks with this nice light wood grain. And that hardware though, that's the original hardware. I just sprayed it black. I love it. 19. We're nearing the end. So sad. I love doing these. They're so fun. This hot mess here looks like all laminate, but it's not. Only part of it is laminate. The drawer faces are actually solid wood, as well as the frame and the legs. I removed those little decorative blocks off the front of the drawers. I just wanted a more streamlined, smooth look for this. I kept the original hardware, but I spray painted it black, and it's got a really cool modern look to it. Without being too trendy, this is a piece that would fit in with multiple different decor styles. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and sometimes I feel really bad that these pieces get overlooked because look at what they can become. And our last piece here, number 20, I thought I'd end off with this antique oak dresser. It was in really, really rough shape. Obviously the top here is the worst, but even the sides and the front were pretty bad. There was a split in it, some bad water damage. That does not scare me, that excites me. I kept the keyhole escutcheons. That's so hard to say, I always mess it up. But I added some cup pulls and I got to do a fun little treatment on it with some different colored paint and patina wax. I love, love, love this piece. It was painted in Sacred Sage by Fusion Mineral Paint, and the top just turned out great as well. That's our 20 furniture flips, but don't run away just yet. There's a little surprise at the end. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up. It'll let me know that you like this sort of thing and I'll do more in the future. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss another video. And as always, thank you so much for watching and helping support me. I'm fairly new to YouTube, so it means the world to me. So thank you. Ooh, it's bonus time. I did a little bonus at the end of the last video and you guys loved it, so I thought I'd add another one on this one. This vintage sideboard slash buffet was in really, really bad shape. The veneer everywhere needed refinishing, the hardware was broken, and it was quite clear that it had been unloved for some time, so I'm gonna change that.